Alright, this is our review of Gladiator 2. Before I forget all the things that I want to talk about, I'm trying to digest it. What was going through my mind? Sorry? Do you want to?
I just don't know what you're doing.
I just whatever you want.
Okay.
What's going through my mind throughout watching the film? By the way, I'm going to do kind of spoiler free for the first half of this video, and then I'm going to do spoilers for the second half, and I'm going to mark that in the timings at the bottom. So if you want spoiler free, watch from now, and if you're happy to watch spoilers as well, then I'll tell you when they're going to start in the second half. Spoiler free, I was thinking a lot about performances throughout the film, and I think what I mean by that is I was thinking about how the performances matched up to those in the first film, because it's kind of a Force Awakens-y situation here, where this film is not only drawing from the original, but directly imitating the original, deliberately imitating the original, and affectionately imitating it. In terms of the structure of the story, the characters and what position they hold in the story, like there's obviously a new Maximus. It's Lucius. There's a new kind of owner of the Gladiators that used to be Oliver Reed, and now it's Denzel. There's a new kind of villainous emperor character in this case there's two. Last time it was Joaquin, this time it's those two. I've forgotten their actors' names. So like the patterns are the same, and I felt like in every case the performance wasn't as strong as its sister character, let's say, from the previous film, and that was really bothering me. And I started to think, is Pedro Pascal, sorry, not Pedro Pascal, is Paul Mescal miscast? Because I don't feel comfortable with him playing Lucius, and I don't know why. And I'm not sure if the character's miswritten or if Paul's miscast, or both. Sorry, I'll slow down. I'll turn right here. But because it felt off to me, and then I was thinking, oh, Russell Crowe in that 1999 sort of The Insider to 2003 kind of A Beautiful Mind, which I don't even really like, but that era Russell Crowe is just undefeated. Like he just, I mean, Master and Commander, mate, like he carries Gladiator on his shoulders, and that's not to say the rest of it isn't good quality, but fuck me, Russell Crowe was just oozing class, charisma. He was just unreal at that time, and I love Paul Mescal, and he's doing his best here with what might be a weaker character, but he's just nothing on that Russell Crowe performance, and that fundamentally makes the movie feel like it's on weak foundations, despite the fact that I think Denzel and Pedro Pascal are the highlights, but unfortunately they're not the core of the story. I feel as though it's more fanciful than the original. The original, I'm not saying the original was crazily historically accurate. I mean, I don't fucking know. But this certainly feels like it's pushed that beyond any level that's reasonably acceptable as historically accurate. There are some things that are in the trailer that you can already speak to if you've seen the trailer. Monkeys in the Colosseum, water in the Colosseum. Again, not saying these things didn't happen, it just feels way more fanciful, way less grounded. I feel as though the story, it's difficult to go on now without saying spoilers, but basically spoiler free is I'm struggling to digest what feels more empty about it, and I would say certainly worth seeing. I'm not saying it's a heartless entry into this Gladiator universe, but it's certainly something that I'm going to mull over. Now I'm going to go into spoilers. Let's just wait here a sec. I'm going to go into spoilers. So they're just the loudest people in the world. I just don't like where this movie goes. I don't think it misses Joaquin Phoenix in that Emperor role. It really misses it, because I don't give a fuck about these two emperors that end up dying in their own individual ways. I don't give a fuck. I like that all the characters are quite textured. You know, in some ways you really root for Denzel, then you don't root for Denzel. You root for Pedro Pascal, but you don't. You never root for the emperors. But Joaquin Phoenix in the original, despite not rooting for him, he's still an absolutely riveting screen presence. These two emperors are just too caricatured for me. Like, Joaquin had that kind of bratty kid thing down, and the memory of Joaquin Phoenix's performance is running rings around these two. And the fact that the culmination of this story is in them dying one after another, like, I couldn't care less by the time it got to that point about them. And then the Pedro Pascal angle felt slightly awkward to me as well, because what role is he playing in this story, and how significant is his death to the propulsion of that story? And then the whole angle with his mum, how he responds to his mum initially with disgust and then grows towards his mum, and then how it ends with her getting shot. I just kind of felt like they were kind of searching and grasping for an emotional peak to the story that didn't come with any of these deaths. And there's only so much you can get from one death before you become numbed by 2, 3, 4 deaths of key core characters. And again, you just think back to the first film and you're like,
Have I told you the story?
I'd rather just be watching that. And there's times where it cuts back to the first film where I'm like, oh, I just wish I was watching that. Even towards the end, I think the ending's pretty strong, and it kind of speaks to the first film. It kind of draws from the first film so much at the end, where he grabs a fistful of gravel, asks his dad if he can hear him, or Maximus if he can hear him in the afterlife, and then it cuts to the shot of the corn from the first film, and that's the last shot of the film, and I'm kind of like, well, that's kind of fitting really, because this film sits within that first film. It doesn't sit alongside it, it sits within it, pocketed within it, as kind of a weaker, younger brother of the film. It's the Force Awakens to the New Hope. The action is good, but again less grounded. I would say that it doesn't feel as grand. Yeah, I'm just struggling to digest it, and I think my initial reaction is it's a 3-star film at best, probably as in 3 out of 5. I mean, I want to turn this off before we go in the tube, but do you have anything you'd like to say?
No.
I just had to get that off my chest. What would you give it out of 5, darling?
3.5.
3.5? Fair.
I enjoyed it, and they're not my type of films, and I enjoyed it.
Okay, good. Well, that's saying something then. I enjoyed it too. I guess I need to say that I did enjoy it, but Gladiator, the first film, is in such high regard to me, and I think in pop culture. Just enjoying it is not enough, and if you're going to draw from it that much, you've got a lot to live up to, and yeah, I'll leave it at that. Premiere banging though. Follow me on Letterboxd, like and subscribe. See ya.